present Anything Legal by 1EK Daily, starring Donald Hewlett and Michael Knowles, with special guests Dylis, Laye and Norma Ronald.
Put that bit there, and that bit there. Screw that bit onto there, and tighten up with a spanner, so.
George!
Yes, dear?
What on earth are you doing fiddling with the taps?
Well, just thought I'd change the washer, dear. See, all done. Finished it quick as a flash. Well, in 11 minutes 45 seconds, to be precise. Not bad at all. Quickest yet.
You've changed the tap washer.
Yes, dear?
But, George...
Yes, dear?
The tap wasn't leaking.
No, dear, none of them were.
What do you mean, them?
But I thought I'd change all the tap washers while I was at it. Save getting caught out when winter comes.
But winter's just gone.
Bound to come back again, dear. Always does.
George?
Yes, dear?
Are you feeling all right?
All right.
Yes. You're not striking some minor menopausal problem by any chance, are you?
I shouldn't think so, dear. Anyway, what on earth makes you think such an unlikely thing might be occurring?
This.
This?
The constant hyperactivity of the weekend to date. Shelves that have been waiting to be fixed for years, fixed in a flash. Cupboards realigned. 2 broken window panes replaced without even calling in the glazier. And now this. Every tap washer in the house allegedly changed without any need for their changing. If that's not menopausal, what is?
You may be right. Let's put it down to the male menopause and forget all about it, shall we? Now, I must get on. A couple of sink plugs and chains to sort out next.
Now, where's that screwdriver?
Charles?
Yes, dear?
What are you doing now?
I was about to change the toaster plug, as it happens. Shan't be sec.
What are you changing the toaster plug for?
For the one on the electric sweeper.
No, not which are you changing it for, but why are you changing it? It worked perfectly well this morning.
The colour.
The colour?
Yes.
But all our plugs are the same colour.
I know. But I noticed the ivory face on the toaster plug was getting somewhat scratched from constant use, so thought I'd swap it for the sweeper plug, which isn't used as often.
You mean you're going to take the sweeper plug off, put the toaster plug on it, then put the sweeper plug on the toaster?
Got it in one. Gosh, you're a perceptive lady, Marjorie. I'll give you that. Minimum amount of information, and you've cracked it instantly. Got the gist in a jiffy.
Yeah, I can do without the flannel, Charles. There's something going on here that smacks of chicanery.
Chicanery? What possible chicanery could there be in changing plugs?
In Bentlethorpe last year, a man changed his wife's iron plug and she ended up a cinder.
Marjorie, how could you suggest such a thing? I mean, dash it all, I'm not changing the iron plug. I'm changing the toaster plug. Besides which, I'm always the one who makes the toast in the morning. If anyone's going to end up as Mr. Cinders, it'll be me.
Yes, I suppose that is some small consolation. And Mrs. Smethers does the vacuuming, so that's all right. So what is it, Charles?
It?
Yes, it. This toying with things electrical. A developing fetish, perhaps.
Good. Oh, no.
Well, you changed all the fuses yesterday. Said they looked tired. And if that's not a fetish, what is?
It's just good house management, Marjorie. Keep ahead of the problem, and the problem will never materialise.
I suppose that's why you took all the greenhouse windows out yesterday. Then simply put them all back in again with new putty.
Lovely smell.
I beg your pardon?
New putty. Lovely smell. Linseed oil and...
Charles?
Yes, dear?
Could I suggest you have a lie down for half an hour before we go off for this evening's bridge with George and Hilary?
Why, dear?
Because you're patently going potty. And I will not let Hilary get that sort of advantage over me. She was bad enough at last week's Weight Watchers weigh-in, losing 2 pounds more than me, indeed. Now, please go and rest.
But...
Rest, Charles.
Very good, dear.
Now what are you doing, George?
Pardon, dear?
What on earth are you crawling under the sideboard for?
Just having a quick check of the plug on the standard lamp. Thought I'd better, in case there's a screw loose.
The only one with a screw loose round here, George, is you.
I say, it's a bit uncalled for.
You come out of there this instant. Charles and Marjorie are due any second now.
Very good, dear. Hilary,
Yes?
something rather dreadful's happened.
George, I refuse to have any further conversation with a pair of legs and half a crumpled cardigan. Both of which are sticking out from under a large oak sideboard. We shall not converse until you finally come out.
But actually, that's something dreadful that's happened.
What is?
I can't come out.
Don't be childish, George. It doesn't become you.
But Hilary, that's what I'm trying to tell you. My head's jammed between the legs.
George, the legs of the sideboard are 6 feet apart. And even with your ego, your head couldn't possibly swell that far.
No, dear, it's the two centre support legs at the back. My head's jammed between them.
Well, you got it in. Surely you can get it out.
No, I can't. I've tried.
Why ever not?
It's my ears. They've got in the way.
You mean you're hooked by your ears?
Something like that.
Oh, I never heard anything so ridiculous in my life. You know, George, I think you're doing this simply to irritate me and make me look small in front of Marjorie. Now, unhook your ears this instant and crawl out.
It's no good. Can't budge. You'll have to lift it off me.
How on earth do you think I'm going to do that? It took 4 burly men to bring it in all those years ago, and it hasn't been moved since. Oh, now look what you've done. They're here, and I haven't even checked my makeup. Mother was right. You're totally insufferable.
But Hilary, give it one small try, please.
I'm sorry, George, but I can't keep our guests waiting. It would be unforgivable.
Why must they always take so long to answer the door? Makes one feel like unwelcome tradesmen.
Perhaps we're a little early, dear.
Of course we're not early. I always make sure we're at least 15 minutes late so they don't think we're too eager. Someone coming at last.
Charles, Marjorie.
Hilary, darling, how wonderful to see you.
Marjorie, oh, how delightful you look. Charles.
Hilary? Good to see you again.
Come in. Let me take your coat.
Thank you, darling.
George?
He's in the lounge.
We'll go through, shall we?
Please do. With you in a sec.
Oh, that ghastly wallpaper, Charles.
I quite agree.
I see, where's Good Lord.
No mistaking those legs and that crumpled cardy. Evening, George.
Evening, Charles. Marjorie.
Lovely evening.
Is it?
Yes. Outside, that is.
Oh, good.
Yes. Delightful. Considering the time of year.
Oh, that's good to know.
Right, here I am at last. Now, what can I get you both to drink?
Sherry, perhaps?
Medium or dry?
Dry.
Charles?
Same for me, please.
Good. Ready for a drink yet, dear?
Not for the moment, thank you.
Well, I'll pop through and get them.
Yes. Should we take a seat, perhaps, George?
Oh, yes, please do. Make yourself at home.
Thank you.
Yes.
It was tonight we were to come and play bridge, was it, George?
Oh, yes, I'm pretty sure that was the plan.
Oh, good. We'd hate to arrive on the wrong evening, wouldn't we, Charles?
Absolutely.
No, it's this evening, all right.
No business of mine, George, but how long have you suffered from this agoraphobia thing?
Agoraphobia?
You know, dread of open spaces.
Oh, this isn't agoraphobia.
Oh, good, that's nice to know.
It's more a case of getting one's head stuck between the back legs of the sideboard as it happens.
Well, that explains it, then.
Here we are. Sherry's all round.
Oh, good.
Marjorie?
Thank you, dear.
Charles?
Many thanks.
Are you quite sure you won't have one, George?
Not for the moment, dear, thank you.
Right. Well, Marjorie, I wonder if before we start at the cards you'd care to pop into the kitchen and consult over calories.
But, of course, we Weight Watchers must sticky bun together, mustn't we?
Now, don't fret, boys. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm sure they'll manage to keep themselves entertained, bringing each other up to date on their various computers and campaigns and what have you.
Oh, yes, don't worry about us. We've lots to talk over, haven't we, George?
Yes, lots.
We'll leave you to it, then.
George? What is it?
Bumped my head. You made me jump, didn't you? Come over.
I'm sorry about that.
Where are you now?
Kneeling by the sideboard, talking to the gap. I thought I'd better not speak too loud in case the girls hear.
Good thinking.
Hilary doesn't know about our little enterprise.
Of course not.
Marjorie's still in the dark as well.
After all, we did agree not to tell them, Charles.
Can't be too careful, George. Wives have ways of worming things out of one.
Not Hilary. Not out of me. Silent as the tomb.
Is she?
I am.
Oh, good. Anyway, how did it go?
It?
Practicing the small domestic tasks, George.
Oh, that.
It's essential if we're to extend the services offered by anything legal.
Oh, yes. Absolutely essential.
So?
Went jolly well. I got changing a tap washer down to just under 12 minutes flat and swapping plugs to about 9.
Oh, jolly good. I was exactly the other way round, as it happens. Washers 9 and plugs 12. Mind you, you had to put up with a fair amount of haranguing from Marjorie during the plug changing.
Same from Hilary during the tap washers, and all the other tasks come to that. Quite amazing. She's been chuntering on at me, refixing the shelf in the kitchen for months. And when I did it yesterday, in about 3 minutes flat, she still wasn't happy. Said I should have done it much sooner.
Oh, I doubt whether one could do it much sooner. I mean, 3 minutes is awfully good for a job like that.
No, sooner earlier, not sooner quicker.
Ah, that explains it.
Thought it would. So when do we get underway with our new service?
Well, now we've proved we can do little jobs quickly, I should imagine the sooner the better. I mean, housewives by the score will leap at the opportunity to get those little domestic jobs done quickly, efficiently and cheaply. No hanging around for tradesmen, one phone call and we're there in a flash, or in a flush, depending what needs doing.
There is one thing that bothers me slightly.
What's that, George?
The suggested name of our supplementary service, plus the advertisement that goes with it.
Oh, I think it's most appropriate. Describes the new service perfectly. Bound to catch the eye.
Do you think so?
Can't you see it, George? Spare Husbands Anonymous. Remove those headaches from your married life. Those little jobs your husband hasn't got around to doing. Done quickly and efficiently. Spare Husbands Anonymous.
That's the one.
Well, what's wrong with it?
Well, dealing with words as I do, or rather did before we set up together, I do note a slight potential problem.
Really?
Yes, headaches.
Headaches?
Headaches do have a rather special place in married life.
Do they?
Well, they do in mine. And that, coupled with little jobs the husband hasn't got round to doing, might conceivably be misunderstood.
Might it?
Yes, in fact, almost guaranteed.
What will they actually think it means?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, that sort of thing. What do you suggest in its place?
Well, I have been giving it some thought while I've been lying here. And I was wondering, as we're not going to do big jobs in any event, how about making a feature of it by calling it Little Jobs Unlimited?
Little Jobs Unlimited. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something about that that rings like warning bells as well.
Really? Wonder what that could be.
I don't know. It just makes me think of a pet poodle I used to have for some reason. I tell you what. How about Odd Job?
Wasn't that the name of the chappie in the Bond picture who chopped chaps' heads off with his hat?
I wouldn't know that sort of thing. Not much of a picture goer. It wouldn't hurt if it was, sort of piggybacking on his publicity, as it were.
Long as the housewives didn't get the impression we'll come round and lop off their husbands' heads with our peaked caps.
Odd Job it is, then. Anything legal. Incorporating Odd Jobs Unlimited.
And when shall we get it underway?
Well, why don't we get straight at it next week?
What-ho? Smashing.
Provided you've got out from under this sideboard by then, that is.
Oh, yes, the sideboard. I was forgetting. It's funny how quickly one acclimatises to a new situation.
How on earth did it happen?
Well, I crawled under to check whether the standard lamp plug had a screw loose or not. Pushed my head through the gap between the centre-back legs to reach it. And when I tried to withdraw, my ears sprang out like a pair of water wings. So here I am, hooked by my ears.
Oh, how awfully inconvenient for you. Have to be bridge under the sideboard for you tonight, George, or son?
Can make it dashed awkward looking at the cards.
I don't know what the rules will have to say about that, mind.
Not a lot, probably. Not a thing that will crop up that often.
No, you're probably right. Probably.
Don't suppose you could, by any chance, just try to lift it off me?
I shouldn't think so. I mean, it's not exactly a plywood and plastic job, is it? Looks as though it weighs a ton.
Took 4 men to bring it in.
That's that, then.
It was just a passing thought.
On passing second thoughts, I could try giving a lift at this end. Wouldn't be the whole of its weight by any means, and if it moves at all, you could slip your hands beneath the legs trapping your head and help by pushing upwards.
You sure it'd be all right?
That's the only answer, George.
Sounds a little dangerous.
Safe as houses. Of course, if I can't get it moving at all, we'll have to call the whole thing off. But worth a try, right?
Right.
Now, get a firm grip underneath, Charles. Brace yourself and... Anything?
Not a flicker, I'm afraid.
I thought as much. I'll try again. Catch it unawares and upstairs in. Well, George?
Afraid not. It trembled a bit, but didn't lift.
Well, one last valiant effort, perhaps. Tell you what, I'll think of one of those big brawny chaps on the beach with biceps like bulls.
Bulls?
French for bulls.
Balls?
Yes, bulls.
Oh, those things, bulls.
Yeah, they're the ones. I'll imagine this chap kicking me in the face with some sand. Get me in the right frame of mind.
I say, steady on, Charles. You don't want to go popping anything precious, do you?
I'll bear that in mind. Are you ready?
Yes.
Right, here goes. 1, 2, 3, heave!
It's trembling again. Yes, it's moving. Yes, it's lifting, Charles.
Quick!
Nearly half an inch now.
Get your hands under to help me.
Right. Just a touch more and I'll be able to... done it.
Push up, George. Push up. Come on, George. Push up. I can't hold it much longer.
I'm trying. I can't get any leverage. It's no good, Charles. I have to move my hands so you can put it down.
Quickly.
Oh!
What is it?
My hands are trapped.
Get out. Get them out, George. I've got to let go any second.
I can't move them.
Don't worry, I'll stick my feet under to take the weight.
Charles, don't let go, whatever you do.
Oh,
My hands.
oh my feet.
One club.
Pass.
I'll pass as well.
You can't pass, Charles. One club is forcing.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear. Wasn't thinking. 1 diamond.
Oh, come on, George, your bid. Haven't you got your cards sorted yet?
But it's not easy, Hilary. These bandages are quite bulky.
I can see they're bulky, George. It's as plain as a pikestaff they're bulky, but that's no reason for sloppy sorting. Charles's bandages are equally bulky, but he had no trouble getting his cards sorted out, now did he?
But his bandages are on his feet.
That is neither here nor there. You've caused enough hold-ups for one evening. Kindly get a move on.
Well, I couldn't help it if the fire brigade took so long getting here, could I?
Well, you could try to make up for it by getting a move on now.
But my hands are agony.
Agony doesn't count when you're playing bridge, George. You must sort on and rise above it, like Charles.
No, Hilary, I'm not actually rising above it. I simply haven't the energy for any more screaming.
That explains it.
Charming bunch of chaps, weren't they?
Who?
The firemen.
Oh, yes. Delightful. Such manners. The one who sawed the back legs off the sideboard, particularly.
Quite. And that curly blonde one with the teeth.
The one who pulled Charles out?
Yes. Fascinating.
Ready yet, George?
Just about.
Want me to help her, son?
Better not.
I'm really awfully sorry about your hands.
No, it can't be helped. Mind you, your feet were a high price to pay to try to save me from hurt. That's true friendship.
To be honest, if I'd known quite how high the price was going to be, I'd probably not have bothered.
No, can't say I blame you.
George, would you kindly get on? Please save the chatting for the coffee break.
Yes, of course. Sorry, dear. Right, here we go. No bid.
Are you quite sure?
Yes, quite.
Oh, dash. I have a lovely support hand.
2 hearts.
Pass.
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 Marjorie, it is then. My lead.
I'll put down.
Lovely coffee, Hilary, as always.
Thank you, darling. How are you getting on, George?
Pretty well, all things considered.
Jolly good idea of yours.
Do you think so?
Absolutely. Bypasses the bandages altogether, sucking the coffee up through a straw.
The only answer, really.
The only consolation about your hurt hands, George, is it just might slow down the do-it-yourself business to some degree.
Afraid so. Put the kibosh on that for a little while.
Do it yourself.
Hasn't stopped all weekend. Hardly had a screwdriver out of his hand since he got back home from the office on Friday.
What an amazing coincidence. Neither has Charles.
Really?
Frankly, I think you demean yourselves getting involved in that sort of menial work. I mean, that's what tradespeople are for. Don't you agree, Hilary?
But of course. Only 2 days and George's hands are getting as coarse as a bricklayer's.
How on earth do you know about bricklayers' hands being coarse, Hilary?
Well, of course they're coarse. It's obvious. You stand around all day with a brick in your hand, you'd expect them to be coarse, now wouldn't you?
If not more so. I repeat, odd jobs should be done by odd job men, not by senior executives of computer and advertising companies. Well, it's unnatural.
But you never know when it might come in useful to, say, change a leaky tap washer.
When, for instance?
Oh, well, that's easily explained. Charles?
Yes, easily.
Tell me then, when?
Yes, after a nuclear war, for instance.
What on earth use will it be to change leaky tap washers after a nuclear war?
George?
To save getting polluted sinks.
Polluted sinks?
They're the ones.
Not to mention drains and cesspits.
Oh, no, please don't mention them.
Why not?
Official secrets, apparently. There's a sort of list.
Is there?
Apparently.
In which direction?
In which direction what?
The list.
List?
To the left or the right?
Downing Street way.
To the right at the moment, then.
Probably.
I think I've lost track of this conversation somewhere along the line.
I haven't. There's more to this than meets the eye, Hilary. Have you two heard something that we haven't?
Heard something?
Yes. I mean, it's obvious you're both sharing some great secret that Hilary and I are not yet heir to. Perhaps it's time you let us in on it.
Good Lord, Marjorie, you're right. Look at the way they're both squiggling in their chairs and exchanging furtive glances. George looks quite fingers in the tillish.
I say, steady on, old girl. That's a bit strong. I was a pack leader of the Cubs.
I reject the old girl and I refuse to steady on. If there are secrets to be shared, Marjorie and I quite naturally want to share them.
Charles, see something.
Well, there's a simple explanation.
He doesn't have to explain. I have the answer.
Have you?
Neither of you have mentioned your companies tonight. Neither computers nor advertising campaigns have come up in the conversation.
You're right, Marjorie. Normally we can't get a word in for computers this or advertising that, but tonight we've not heard one single word about them.
Exactly, and I think I know the reason why.
What?
You do?
It would also explain all the activity this weekend in both our homes.
But what is the reason, Marjorie?
Oh, come on, Charles. Let's confess all. I can't stand the strain any longer.
Ah, so there is a secret.
Well,
Best leave the explanation to Marjorie, George. And keep our fingers crossed.
Well, Marjorie?
The reason they haven't mentioned their respective firms, Hilary, is that they don't want the conversation to veer in that direction. They don't, in fact, want us to ask any questions about business or about what is going on there.
Oh, no, Charles. I think she's got it.
Hush, George.
But why ever not?
Well, I know Charles's computer company does occasional work for the government.
As does George's advertising company.
Exactly.
Yes, but, I mean, why should that make them want to stop us asking questions about it?
Charles skated round it earlier and then neatly got himself out of it by changing the subject.
Did I?
Yes, dear, you did. Very clever. Official secrets.
Official secrets?
Plus the fact I wouldn't be surprised if you two were actually working together on some project at this moment.
Good Lord.
But if not, your companies certainly are. And your interests in do-it-to-yourself, plus your early Freudian slip, re-official secrets, accidentally revealed the truth of the situation.
What is the truth, Marjorie? Oh, for goodness sake, tell me. The suspense is awful.
It most certainly is.
Here to that.
Nuclear war is imminent.
Oh! Oh, no! George, Charles, tell me it isn't true.
I'm afraid I can't do that. Marjorie's cracked it. As per usual. Yes, that's it. Any day now. Kapow.
That's the one. Terrible. End of the world, Armageddon, all that stuff. Plus unchanged washers and leaking taps through 90% of the country's homes.
Dreadful.
Awful. Still, plenty of time for coffee and bickies. I'll go and organise it. Though can't carry the tray, of course.
You help me to walk and I'll give you a hand, George.
Lovely. Help if you can give me two, in fact. More water biscuits, girls?
No. Bring the chocolate digestives. If the end of the world is nigh, Marjorie and I will finish off the packet.
Very good, dear.
Be back soon. Try not to dwell on it, girls. It'll be over in a flash. I say, George, it's rather good, eh? Over in a flash.
Yes. Almost amusing.
Yippee! We got away with it, didn't we?
Absolutely. Yippee!
Gosh, I really thought Marjorie twigged us for a moment there.
Me too. Thank goodness she settled for the Third World War.
Infinitely less explosive than discovering we've been made redundant.
Infinitely. So what do we do now, Charles?
It's quite straightforward, George. Carry on with the good work. We'll just put our hands firmly on the wheel.
Actually, that's not just on. Not at the moment. Not with the state of my hands.
Of course not, I was forgetting.
Mind you, I could just manage best foot forward, perhaps.
Afraid that's out for me, George.
Of course, I was forgetting. So what's left?
Shoulders to the wheel, perhaps?
Good thinking. Noses to the grindstone as well?
Excellent. Any other bits while we're at it?
Backs to the wall?
A bit up against it, that one, George. Mind you, we've got plenty to go on with. What with my hands on the wheel, your best foot forward, both doing the business with shoulders and noses. Anything legal should flourish in no time.
It most certainly should.
You've been listening to Anything Legal by Wally K. Daly, starring Donald Hewlett as Charles and Michael Knowles as George. Also this week, Dylis Laye featured as Marjorie and Norma Ronald as Hilary. The theme music was written by Jim Parker and the programme was produced by John Fawcett Wilson.